Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Stunt Hangar Video Chat. It is Friday night, October the 18th, and this is the opening day of the Huntersville contest. Actually, for the combat guys, I think they started yesterday, or at least they all gathered yesterday, and they flew some events today. That was the only officials they flew. So, anyway, great day to be in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but we're here, and the chat box is open for you people over on YouTube who are interested in joining us. You can use the chat box there to text to us, and we'll try to incorporate your texts into the conversations. And also in the text box on the YouTube page, that's the Stunt Hangar uh, Stunt Hangar YouTube page, and there is a block dollar sign at the bottom of the chat box. If you're so inclined to send us a couple of nickels, and that helps Sparky pay for the server fees and the equipment and all of what it takes to broadcast live from places like Huntersville. And hey, Bob Bishop uh, just popped in on YouTube. Glad to have a visitor so soon. And the chat box is up, as I said, and we are live. If you want to come visit us on the video side with your camera and microphone, if you are a member and logged into Stunt Hangar Control Line forums, you can go to the At the Bench thread, which is on the main page of the forums. And if you see the open forum listed at the top, scroll down a few and look and read the name of each one that passes by, and you will see one called At the Bench. When you click that, the newest link should be listed, and the first link in it is the one you would click on to get in here. There are other ways to do it via telephone. They are also listed. Some I haven't tried those out personally, but you should be able to get in with those. And let's see, I got new messages coming in. That was my Stunt Hanger notification. So anyway, we're all here. We're ready to chat until midnight or later, depending on the conversations. Some of our regulars are in Huntersville. Maybe they'll join us from out by the pool at the Super 8 Hotel. There are a couple of notable wrecks that have already happened today. That is model airplane wrecks, that is. So no injuries, hopefully, but except for some new rekitted toothpick planes. Let's see, Steve Hines on his way home, and he'll listen to me on the way and get on the video chat when he gets there. And Bob Bishop says, "Did you get that Greg's link that I sent you?" Yes, I was going to. I kept meaning to email you. Every time I get up to the computer, I get sidetracked, and I have watched one. Bob sent me a link to a YouTube channel, and it is all about all kinds of stuff. I forget what the name of it is now. I'll have to go back and check. But I watched one video so far on it. It was about the 1967 or 68 Chevrolet Biscayne with a big block 427 in it, which was a kind of a stripped down Impala, another level below the Caprice, but with a huge engine and a Muncie 4-speed. And I think it had a 400 and something to 1 rear end. I can't remember the ratio now, but interesting car, and a damn fast car too. It would run in the 12s off the showroom floor, and and with that, 2 rear ends were available. One of them ran 14s, one of them ran 12s. So pick which one you want. But anyway, that's the stuff we talk about is aeromodeling mainly, and also hell, planes, trains, and automobiles. Anything you like to tinker with, anything you like to get out to your workshop and break sweat and draw blood with. Greg's Airplanes and Automobiles. That is the name of the channel on YouTube. So look that up, and it's a whole mix of all kinds of different videos. He doesn't stick to cars. He doesn't stick to airplanes. He's all over the place, but he's got interesting stuff. I was reading, and I was watching another one earlier today that I didn't have time to finish, and he was mixing let's see, what was he doing? Oh yeah, methanol and water injection for the uh, uh, for his imported car, and I forget what kind it was. See, I didn't watch, like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing, but that sort of stuff I find interesting, even though I'm not inclined to beef up an import. I've already had my hot rod Mazda and sold it, and I'm kind of out of that hobby now because I'm getting too old for that kind of carrying on, as they say. But I mean, let's see. Yeah, we will sit here and wait for some people to come in, and like I said, some of them are in Huntersville, so we could have a slightly slimmer crowd tonight. But let me adjust my camera down a little bit so I can sit back in the chair and relax. That's what Fridays are for. Relaxing. All right, we be relaxed. I got my lucky airplane shirt on, my Cox Engine Forums shirt. So hey, I'm all set, dressed appropriately, and hey, that's about all I got. So what's going on? Let's see. What's going on, Bob? What you been doing for fun besides working? Do you? I guess you work at nights every night, and you sleep through the day. Is that your usual routine? And I'm talking to Bob Bishop via the YouTube chat box, so you watchers can't hear anything. Speaking of watchers, I think about 99% of our viewers are people that pull up the reruns, and they are all listed on my own website. And actually, in the description that I put, let me look at the description just a second that I put on here. I think I list my website, and let's see. I can't get to it right now. But anyway, under the comments of this video, I think I put the link to my website on there, my YouTube site, that is. And the first, on the main page, the first thing you'll see is a list of all of the Stunt Hangar video chats in order. And so you can get to the reruns there more easily than you can through Sparky's YouTube site, because his is mixed with his builds and tutorials and all of that, and mine are nothing but the shows I've done. And we are up to almost 200. Let's see, I think I've got it marked on the calendar pretty soon. Let's see, within a week and a half or so, I'm going to hit my 200th show. When I get a chance, I'll take a look at the calendar. It's buried under a bunch of unpaid bills right now, so I can't get to it. But yeah, man, this coming up is my 200th show, and so that's kind of cool. I started in May or June of 2017 after Sparky came to me up at Triple Tree at the Joe Null contest, which is the last weekend of Joe Null in May, and asked me if I wanted to do some kind of video thing on YouTube, and that's all I took away from it. I just said, yeah, sure, Sparky, I'll do it. Little did I know, he handed me the keys to the castle and gave me a show where I can get together with all my buddies and make new friends from around the world. One of those includes Gary Sinclair, who just popped into YouTube. So, hey, Gary, and I'm doing fine this evening. Thank you. I'm doing very well, except for the fact that I'm not in Stuntersville. And I would have really liked to have been there, but I got realistic about it. And although I can sit here in this chair and look like I'm doing pretty good, it was only a couple of days ago this week, I'm thinking Wednesday, before I could actually walk without some kind of assistance, only for short distances. I can go around with a cane fairly unsafely if I'm not careful. And getting to Huntersville and having fun there and being mobile enough to get around and visit with different people and watch different circles would have been completely unrealistic, and I get exhausted so easy. So I'm still on the mend more than I like to admit to myself. But clearer thinking took hold, along with some advice from clear thinking people, more than a few, convinced me that I wasn't ready. And unfortunate, but hey, that's the only way I'm going to get ready, is to do it like I'm supposed to do it. So I'll be there in May, and probably going to go up to the meeting at Watt's house in November. That'll be a good first outing for me, not far from home. If the weather's nice, there'll be some flying going on, and of course, Will Davis will cook us some cornbread and pot roast, and so definitely look forward to that. Will always fixes us great food, not the hot dogs and burgers that we get at the as the standard fare at the Triple Tree contest. But anyway, so that's something for me to look forward to. And I think Holly said if I want to go out to the shop tomorrow, she'll walk out there with me, and I can putz around in there and see what I can do. I'm so far removed from the shop, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I know what's out there waiting for me to work on, but where to start, I have no idea. Probably killing black widow spiders might be a good first step, because after the summer, there are plenty of them breeding out there. So get my little orange can of Taro Sprotter spray and go for it. You kind of have to, don't pick anything up without looking underneath where your fingers are wrapped around first. So I probably ought to be more afraid of them than I am, but I hadn't been bit yet, so we don't want that to happen. Let's see. Jack Snavely says he went flying and it was great, but he got dizzy and just did loops and wingovers and lazy eights, not combat capabilities. Hey, dude, nobody expects you to jump right into combat action right away. You're doing better than 80% of the pilots in the world if you can do loops and wingovers, even if you do get dizzy. So congratulations. I'm glad to see you got out there. And let's see. Oh yeah, Bob Bishop says love the pot roast. Yum. Yeah, that's some of that Yankee food comes south. Good stuff, especially on a cold winter day. And Watt's got a great house for wintering over, with a control line field in the yard, a full blown control line field, and he's got a pond out there, and it's kind of a, not a log cabin, but it's definitely a country house, 2-story, and they built that with the wood from the family sawmill, or from Watt's daughter's family sawmill. Oh, hey Jack, thanks for the super chat contribution. That's our first one of the night, and a little bit of that goes to my hobby budget too. And so Mike Lunke says he's watching from Huntersville with the crew by the pool. All right, Mike and everybody by the pool, glad to see y'all are here with us. And if you want to get on the phone and try to come in later, you might want to wait till some people show up, or whenever is fine. Hope y'all are having a great time, regardless of whatever kind of rekits y'all did today. I understand it was a rough day for a couple of people up there. I'll let Mike talk about that if he wants to. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it sometimes when they're when they still got a crash in their heads. But I believe Sparky lost his profile today. His brand new profile has bit the dust, but don't know any more about it than that. But anyway, we'll see what they got to say about that. Glad to have y'all here, though. And I hope somebody out there watching will come join me live, so I don't have to sit here and make up the whole show from my chair. But hey, I'm enjoying it, and trying to think of anything else interesting we got going on. And I don't know what that might be, so I guess it's a time for a sip of brain fuel. Yeah, my favorite cup, the bunny cup, the fucking bunny cup. Everybody ought to have one of those. So let's see. I'm going to check and see how many people are watching us on YouTube. Oh, well, it was 11, and then it went down to 9 as soon as I looked at it. 10 now. So anyway, hope the trolls don't come in here tonight. They kept me busy the other night, but it's easy enough to bang them out. Nothing they post gets to be seen by the public, not for more than a second or two anyway, if that much. So it's futile. Troll me all you want, I'll knock you out. That's not a challenge, by the way. And let's see what do we got. I was going to show you again. Oh, that's see that heart back there behind me. It's only half of the thing. That's what Sam Leinke sent me, a card that he made. He drew an airplane, and Mike and Sam signed it, and that was one of the few ones I got while I was in the hospital, and I really appreciated that. Makes you feel good to know people are out there thinking about you while you're toiling away doing physical therapy. Man, I got a guy coming by the house every well, 3 times a week and busting my ass. And he's a smart dude. He knows more about how the musculoskeletal system works and explaining it. And when you understand how that stuff works, it makes it easier to actually do the exercises when you understand what's happening. Oh, Bob Bishop says he clobbered a couple of trolls the other day as well. Oh, where'd you do that, Bob? On Was it on here? I don't know. I know Charles Carter's got the ability to uh, cull the trolls when he's on here. He's got a big blue wrench by his name. That's a moderator wrench. Nobody other than me and Sparky and Charles, we're the only ones with moderator capabilities. But let's see. I got a text message from somebody. Mike Leinke. Oh, yeah. Look at the comments. Okay. Oh, Bob. Yeah, Bob said he did it right here. Okay. I didn't know my viewers had the ability to cull the trolls, but that's fine. I appreciate all of my video viewers that also pop the chat box up. And if you're one of my usual video guests and are watching, in case you didn't know, you can detach that chat box and pop it out and park it right beside your video screen so that you can watch the chat box and the video at the same time. And so yeah, any help I can get with that, as well as reading and helping me integrate the chat box into the conversation. That's helpful too. Oh, also, let's see. Tom Luciano texted me earlier today, and the plan was that he was going to come down with a new Fox 36X or a newly built one, I think, and bolt it to the Super Satan that he gave me, and we were going to fly it and see if it would outdo the Fox 36X that was on there the last time we flew it. That was the one they gave me about a year ago. And he texted me this morning and said he's not going to make it to Huntersville either because he's got a sciatica killing him. So I think basically that means a real pain in the ass. If I'm not mistaken, that's where the sciatic nerve goes through and makes it hurt. Your butt and your leg and your back, I guess, somewhere along in there. So old Tom's suffering from old age related afflictions too. And Steve Hines just popped in. He's still getting settled. And Tom Rammel says, I had a McCoy Redhead 35 on a Ringmaster as a ninth grader in the 70s. Yeah, that Redhead 35 is a popular engine. From what I hear, it was kind of a crapshoot. Some of them ran well right out of the package, and some of them burned up pretty soon out of the package. And being that fuel might have been more iffy, not to mention our knowledge way back, in our younger years. you know, about how to run engines and not burn them up. I don't know what all played into that inconsistency theory about the McCoys, but the people that have them and run them love them. And I've never held a Redhead 35 in my hand, but some people swear by them, just like the Fox 35. It's a popular old engine. It's got a hell of a growl to it, just like the Fox. And that's all I know about them. I know you got to put a lot of oil in them, and I know that a lot of them run really well and have run a long time. Let's see. Bob Bishop says you hover over them and then click the three dots. He's talking about um, deleting messages in the chat box. You hover over the three dots, and when it pops up, you can choose the either report or hide from channel. Hide from channel is the first one I usually click, and that gets rid of the people who post things that are unwelcome. So thanks, Bob. So yeah, anybody that's on the chat box that sees something pop up that's obviously not friendly to us, feel free to click those three dots and then hide from the channel, and I can do anything else if they need reporting or whatever. And yeah, Bob Bishop says the Redhead was a popular stunt engine. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Just got
Good.
back from a wedding, so.
Oh, who got married? Nobody I know, I guess.
Samantha's sister.
Oh, okay.
I've known her most of her life, so I went. Samantha was maid of honor and stuff, so it was a good time. I had enough of it though. Since I don't drink or anything anymore, it's just not like they used to be.
Well, yeah, when everybody else gets drunk, they're having fun on a whole different level than the non-drinkers, and it just doesn't mesh sometimes. You know, what would be funnier than hell if you were drunk ain't that funny when you're not.
Yeah,
I find that to be a problem sometimes too.
and my back got hurt, and I danced one dance, and it's got my back hurting. So I'm like,
what kind of dancing you do? Rock dancing, like just air guitar and flailing around like I do?
You know, I can do the two-step and the polka, but they were doing the chicken dance and the hokey pokey, and they're just doing all these different.
When I was in I don't remember, I think it was both junior high and high school, my parents sent me to a dancing class that a lot of my other classmates went to, and so there must have been about 75 of us in a big old dance hall, and they play pop music and teach us how to waltz and two-step and all the stuff like that, the polka, the Virginia reel, and you know, just typical um, old-fashioned dancing rather than rock dancing, which I actually do better. But yeah, I used to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah,
I never did it anywhere but at dance school, though. I never had the opportunity to really do it. I didn't go to the debutante balls and all that shit. I guess I could have done it. I could have used my formal dance skills there if I so desired, but I wasn't into that.
When I was young, I did a couple, learned how to do the Texas two-step and stuff like different stuff like that, the regular two-step, but not much. But going to a lot of Catholic weddings, I had a bunch of friends that were Catholics, and all the kids and stuff getting married and going there, learning how to. I mean, they were all in. Yeah. We have a lot of Polish Catholics around here, and the west side of town, and we go there and dance all the time and stuff. So it was a lot of fun back in the day.
Were you raised in the Catholic church? Oh, hey, there's Mike Lonke. Hey, is this out by the swimming pool? Yeah.
I think you're behind.
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
Are you swimming?
No, not swimming. It's cold.
I bet. So y'all having a good time today, other than the obvious losses?
Losses? What losses?
Well, I know of two planes that I seem to have heard about from text messages that are no longer assembled.
Yeah, mine's not. It's in a garbage bag. That's for
Ah,
sure.
crap.
It didn't look that it was that bad. I thought you'd probably bring it back to the motel room and stick it together.
No, I'm not that gung ho about stunt to do that. So
Yeah. Well, I misunderstood your text. I thought you were saying Sparky's control rod came apart, but you were talking about yours, right? Or did you want to keep that a secret?
a little late for that, man.
Yeah, it is now. Sorry, I busted you.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Oh, the new profile of Rusty's or Sparky's.
Sparky's, yeah. So I heard. I cannot confirm nor deny anything else about it, though.
I put my SV22 in the ground this morning, Steve. I hooked up my lines backwards and I didn't do a control check, and
Oh,
that's
man.
how I broke mine. So there were two other plane crashes up on the asphalt today that looked as bad or worse than mine. So
Well, Mike, how did you even get it off the ground if the controls were backwards?
Neutral. Oh, Pete's gone. Yeah, usually neutral handle. The airplane will actually,
Nose over.
well, if you don't give it any up when you're first taking off. So it takes off
Yeah.
real nice.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you give a little bit of up and you go whop.
Yep.
So it probably only hit from a couple feet up, but that was enough to pancake the gear and have the whole airplane hit.
Mike on YouTube, another Mike Gill says, referring to a combat model, right? No. Unfortunately, Mike, we are referring to Mike Lonsky's SV-22 stunt ship.
Yeah, I seen it on Facebook. I didn't know that Sparky's went in, but he said 3 of them did today.
Yeah,
Plus
I didn't
2
know
others.
about the third one. Mike had told me about the two.
Who are the other 2? Sparky and who else?
Sparky and Mike Lonsky. And then there's another one he mentioned just now that I don't know what he was talking about. So the SV and Sparky's profile are toast. I hope I didn't make Mike mad and have him leave on us.
Nah, it's you don't get good signal there at
No, it's pretty wimpy Wi-Fi, especially outside of the building by the pool. I don't know. Outside might be better than inside, but you can watch, but it's harder if you're trying to talk.
Yeah, we tried when we were there and we couldn't get the Wi-Fi. Wasn't fast enough to do anything. We ended up having to use data on the phone to.
Yeah, they've remodeled it a lot since y'all were there, and they were probably remodeling at that time. I'm not sure, but yeah, they got they prettied it up, put a little lipstick on it, new counters and faucets and all that stuff, and made the rooms nicer. But I don't know that they upgraded the Wi-Fi or anything.
Yeah, when we were there, they were just starting that. They had like 10 rooms they were doing.
Yeah.
In that week, and by the end of the week, they were looking really good.
I hated canceling my reservations the other night, but I had to do it. I had a suite room. It was a big corner room, 125. On the front side. So here comes Mike's in here. Connection problems. Yeah. That's good reason. And as good a reason as any. I didn't expect them to be able to participate too much from the pool area, but at least they checked in.
I thought maybe Sparky would have everybody there, do a live broadcast or whatever.
I'd be surprised if we see him tonight. he probably doesn't want to talk about his wreck anyway. So
Yeah. But they said it was a push rod that broke.
on Mike's, oh, wait a minute. I don't know what the story is. Here comes Mike again. I don't know whose push rod wasn't right. It was hooked up backwards. That's it. And he didn't know it until it was too late.
I'm back.
Okay, good. Yeah, y'all got crappy connection up there, I guess.
Yeah, that, that's like with Samantha. I always hook the lines up and run it out and check it. And then when she goes out, she walks behind me, make sure there's no tangles, and checks again. So we both, because we've done the same damn thing.
Yeah, I habitually give it an up-down test, and I know Mike usually does too.
That was me that hooked him up backwards. I did.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
right.
I misunderstood that at first, but I get it.
But everybody, it happens to everybody once. After it happens, you learn to be a lot more careful.
That's the first time in my life that's ever happened, and it had to be my PA stunt ship, not a fucking ringmaster or a combat plane or some stupid shit.
Yeah. That sucks, man. I'm sorry. Have you got a backup? Or are you gonna
fly Will Davis's electric socket to me? I put a flight.
Oh, that's a good plane.
I put a flight up on it today, so
yeah.
He goes, "You want to put 3 or 4 more? I got 5 batteries." I said, 3 or 4 more ain't gonna make me any better on it between now and Sunday. So one's enough. I know how it turns. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. And that Saki Tumi's a pretty good plane.
How's Sam doing?
I'm looking. Sam whooped up on his old man in half-A combat today. That's how Sam's doing. The little shit beat me in a match 2 cuts to 1, like legit, man. Like I didn't give him nothing. He took them. So I got 2 losses in half-A. I'm out. We got to finish up tomorrow. Sam's still in it. Sam gets to keep flying tomorrow. So.
Well, that's cool. So who else had mishap? Who else? Sparky and who else?
Sarah Marie Huff lost her Banshee today.
Not too bad.
Yeah, those paved circles are unforgiving.
You could say that.
Well, I think Sarah's was on grass. And anything would be unforgiving if you hooked the handle up upside down, man.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't actually witness the other 2 crashes. I just saw the carnage afterwards. So I don't know what happened to either of the others. I really don't know.
Sarah said fine tension overhead. Oh. The wind caught it.
How's the wind there? Is it real gusty and swirly at the circles?
It picked up a little bit during the day, but it wasn't crazy. It wasn't crazy bad, but it picked up a little bit. This morning was awesome, and this evening was awesome. But during the day, there was some wind. But I
hope they're wrong about the storm track coming through there Sunday. That sucks.
Yeah.
We got our first troll. Hang on while I take care of that.
We got a troll?
It's not me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I haven't figured out how to comment on it yet, so I can't troll it.
You got to log in on your YouTube account.
It is logged in.
Or
It's
your
just
Google
not
account.
doing it.
Did you go through YouTube or Stunt Hangar?
Through YouTube.
No, go through Stunt Hangar. Go to Stunt Hangar and go to Stunt Hangar YouTube at the top.
Okay.
Where's Charles?
Who else is trying to get on?
A troll.
A troll?
A troll. Yeah. Where's our West Coast guys? Where's our New Zealand guys?
Hadn't seen any of them yet.
I know
come in.
Charles and them, they're going to a contest tomorrow too, and I'm not.
Oh, in California?
Yeah, there's some kind of contest there. I know he was trying to get the airplane trimmed out or whatever, ready to go for that. So he's probably on his way there.
Yeah, that's right. This is the Golden State this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. So I know that's a
Stunt Hangar YouTube.
pretty good drive for them. So they may have went and got a motel room.
Yeah, a lot of people show up at that one.
Why I gotta go spend a little bit of time with my wife.
Oh yeah, I got
I
you.
mean, that's.
All right.
I only get to see her maybe 2 days a week if I'm lucky.
I understand.
What did the temperature get up to there today?
It was pretty nice. I think it was in the mid to high 70s at one point.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it looked like beautiful weather up until the storm comes.
I took my sweatshirt off and was in a t-shirt most of the day. So I never put on shorts, but I was in a t-shirt most of the day.
Oh,
So
Steve Fitton just came into YouTube. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys.
yeah. It was 31 degrees when I got up this morning at 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it was like 46 degrees here this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was cold, but once the sun came out, it warmed up quick.
Yeah, it got up in the 50s here today, but I mean, we had a hard frost. Everything's damn grasshoppers all dead all over the driveway and stuff. And so it froze them good.
Yeah, Steve says it was 34 in Williamsburg when they left home.
Wow.
34 sucks. I turned the furnace on for the first time yesterday.
Oh, no kidding.
Last night. Yeah, it got damn near 50, 58 degrees. Had to close the windows and turn the furnace on.
Well, ain't we a lively bunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, usually takes us a little while to get in the groove. But yeah, I'm so sorry I couldn't come up there, but saner minds prevailed. And when I looked at the logistics, it was clear that I would not have been able to come to Huntersville and had a good time.
Oh,
I just earlier this week got to where I can walk at all without some kind of assistance, and I don't, without getting exhausted. So I'll be there in May, I guess.
Well, they redid your hip, didn't they? Pulled it out and redid another transplant on it.
No, part of it, they put the new ball and socket in, and the main shaft is still intact. It was glued in. They'd had to destroy the bone to get it out. So I'm okay that way. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting my strength and endurance built back up. So I'm coming along unusually fast, they say. So we'll stick with what we got. But it's too much for Huntersville was too much for me. So I was talking big, but when reality hit, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to have fun.
I'm surprised they don't have you swim. There was a lot of people that my cousin and stuff, when he had his hip replacement stuff, they had him swim because it's low impact.
I'm going to try to get out to the shop tomorrow. Holly said she'd walk out there with me and see if I can tinker around and at least figure out what I've got to work with. Because my projects have been sitting for so long, I'm not on a roll in anything anymore. I got the airbrush I need to test out, and if the weather's warm enough, I'll probably put some superfill on the Hyper Viper, and if I mix enough, I can go ahead and put some on the Cardinal fuselage too. It doesn't need but a couple of dots, and at least do something. If it gets up to 70 tomorrow, it'll be warm enough to do superfill. I think the container says 80 degrees. So
well, just make sure you're nice to Holly, so when she takes you out there, she don't leave you there overnight because she's pissed off at you.
Holly's my strongest advocate. I don't think she'd let anything happen to me, because anything bad happens to me makes more work for her to have to do, and she's ready for me to be better. So she'll make sure I'm in good shape. And hey, Steve Fitton says, yeah, we miss you there. And instead, there are a couple of drug dealers in your room. That was a big room too, number 125 on the corner. And so, yeah, y'all drop by and give them some business before you fly tomorrow. But thanks, Steve. Glad to know y'all are thinking about me, even though I'm not there. Mike jumped out again. It probably jumped out because we were talking about geezer stuff, but anyway.
He doesn't have a good
I know. The geezer gripe session is officially over, though. Unless somebody asks me about it, I'll give it to them in a capsule, but I ain't going to lead with that stuff. But I'm good. I'm happy to be as good as I am. And so I'm the luckiest son of a bitch in the world when it comes to some of this stuff. You know, I heal quickly.
You know, that's good. Yeah, it's too bad that you weren't quite up to Huntersville. You know,
I was a lot healthier that April when I came up to see you in Samantha than I am now. But so it goes.
You're probably in less pain though than you were.
Absolutely. Okay. No more geezer talk. But you're right. I'm not in pain now. We need some more warm bodies in here. Some of you tubers out there, see if you can get on your video cam and microphone and come in here with us. I know let's see, some of them don't. Yeah, Steve says their connection, there's a joke. I remember. I've tried to broadcast from there before too with my tablet, and it's off again and on again. I like the Super 8 though. When everybody's there, we have a good time hanging around by the pool, and Mike and them used to bring Irish whiskey and beer and make they called it Irish car bombs. You know, it's kind of like a boiler maker only with Irish whiskey.
Oh, okay.
And boy, that'll put your dick in the dirt. Woo.
Well, I'll say one thing on the drive home. As soon as you got on, it notified me on this new phone, and I could hook in on through my phone on YouTube anyway and listen. You know, I couldn't really, you know.
You couldn't join the show.
Well, I could have, but I didn't want to do it driving.
Yeah.
So I was just listening to it. That's why I texted right at the stop sign. I texted you that I was watching and I'd call here, but yeah, this new T-Mobile with their new 600 megahertz, whatever, man, seems to work good. Haven't dropped service yet. And I was out in the boonies where that wedding was. I mean, my old phone would never connect or anything there. So that's working real well. But
oh well, let's see. John Skukalak just said, "Hey Steve, where's Rich Imhoff been?" Imhoff.
I try to get him back on here. We're supposed to go flying tomorrow. I just think he was supposed to have chemo for the first time Wednesday.
Oh.
And they canceled it. Now they want to do more tests, and I just think all that's weighing on his mind.
Yeah, he's got bigger things to think about right now.
And but he was out. He was in a good mood today, and he was out cleaning his workshop.
Oh, good.
So he's planning on, in between chemo, still working on stuff, and
yeah,
he wanted to get it all done up before he didn't feel so good to where he needed to do anything. So
oh yeah, I hate it if you have something sidetrack you like that and you have to leave your shop in shambles, and I usually keep mine pretty neat, but I forget where everything is, and it's tough getting restarted when you've been out of the shop for a while if you don't have it pretty neat. Well, I got new tools I need to try out. I got my new little chop saw, and got my spray equipment, and I got some new taps and dies I wanted to try threading some rods and stuff like that, and all kind of stuff I want to do that I have yet to play with.
Yeah, I think it was last year. I believe it was last year. time just, I have no sense of time anymore when I did shit. But I believe it was last year. I got him a air compressor.
Oh yeah, I got a new compressor too. Yeah.
I got mine for free and asked him. I just grabbed the other one. No one wanted the damn thing, and I'm like, "You want an air compressor?" And he's like, "You know how big? I forget how many CFM it is. It's a good size air compressor."
Yeah.
But what it is on these sprinkler systems that are they're a dry system. So they put air to them and stuff, and the compressor's there just in case something leaks, but it won't keep up if a head goes or whatever. That'll turn it off. But they change them out every so many years just because I guess it's code or whatever. So these things are like brand new. But they don't have the handle. They take the handle off and push them someplace.
Oh yeah, make it hard to tote around.
And his didn't have the handle, but it had wheels. Mine didn't have handles or wheels, so I had to buy a wheel kit. And I've just been a piece of conduit for a handle so I can move it around. But them were like $500 some dollar compressor, and I got him for nothing. So
wow,
he was redoing his. He wanted to redo the line and some stuff today, and he built which I thought was kind of cool in his shop. It's small, but he set the compressor under a bench and then made up some plywood with foam on it, went around it to keep it quiet. So you can really hear it running there. And
I'm surprised at how quiet my new one is. Now it's a lot smaller than that, but I think it's a 6-gallon or something like that. But they make them quieter than they used to. But yeah, if you can make a foam insulation box to put around it or something, yeah, that'll quiet it down a lot.
Well, these are old school. They're cast iron, twin piston with the belt, and
yeah,
they make a lot of noise. They're not like the new ones that are quiet, but it was free, so
free's always good.
yeah. I mean, the damn thing should run forever.
Mm-hmm.
Being cast iron and stuff like that. So
as long as you keep the water out of it, I've gotten to where I drain mine after every use and just leave the cock open, and
yeah,
it'll build up enough pressure with the cock wide open, even if there is water in it, to where you can just turn it on before you start using it, and it'll blow any water out, and you can close it up and good to go.
this might be.
Gerald just joined us. Yeah, and can't see him yet, but he's hooking up. Here he comes. Gerald is having connectivity issues. Uh-oh. Well, we'll give him a couple of minutes to get squared away. He can probably hear us talking.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's what he's been up to. But he just finished an airplane and wants to fly it tomorrow. So he kind of did like Rusty, took a full fuse and then made it into a profile.
Yeah.
So what the same numbers, just like a full fuse one. I forget Dagger or whatever it is. One of them he made up. But yeah, so at least he's still staying with it. And
well, good. That's what it takes. You got to find some way to get off the couch and just lean into it, and keep on trucking, as they say. And it'll keep you alive. It keeps the circulation going, keeps your respiration going.
Yeah.
You don't get into a rut so bad. JR is joining us too. I wonder who. Oh, that's Jeff Riley.
Yeah. Everybody's having a hard time.
Gary Sinclair says, Steve, I saw your daughter in the AMA magazine. Oh, was she in this most recent one? Was Samantha in the most recent?
I don't know. I didn't see her in there. I didn't go through the whole magazine.
I hadn't even opened it. What's
Oh,
on the cover? It's that yellow. It's that. What is it? Yeah, some kind of yellow high winger is on the
okay.
cover. Oh, a Sky Springer.
Yeah, this might be the one with the Nat stuff in it. I haven't had a chance. I mean, I worked on Samantha's car for a solid week, and then thought I was done and went to fix the exhaust. Bought a part for that. Well, it's not 2 inch; it's some kind of metric thing. So I expanded. I got that done and took it in for a front wheel alignment. And there's an upward control arm that's bad, and so now tomorrow I'm going to fix that and then try to get it back for front end alignment, and hopefully that's it for a while.
When you're working with metric, it's not as simple as SAE sometimes, because the same size metric bolt can have different thread pitches too, can't it? I mean, don't they have more different thread pitches for a given size bolt than the SAE does?
Now they just got to find in a course.
Is it just finding a course?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I've run into some SAE bolts that I just could not make. I mean, some metric bolts that I just could not make fit, and I wondered if it was something difference in the thread pitch when they looked like they had the same amount of threads, but maybe the shape of them was different or something like that.
what's crazy is this car came from Florida, and it's a 2003, so she's had it almost 3 years. It went through 2 winters, but original exhaust and everything on it. But going through the salt or whatever, ate away at the big thick flanges that hook the things together. The thin pipe is fine. Them great big thick things just rusted away to nothing. When I was working on the car, it broke, and it broke on the catalytic converter.
Yeah.
Well, it's a double catalytic converter deal, whatever.
It's got a pre-cat and then the main cat.
Yeah, and so they wanted $800 and some for that, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Geez.
Well, I got online, and there was a place that made a repair kit for it, where you cut off the flange, and it's supposed to just slide on, clamp on, and everything bolts back up. In the box, it looks beautiful. Well, I got it said for that car it was 2 inch, so I got it. Well, you slide it on the metric pipe. I couldn't tighten the thing down to tighten it up on there. So it was like, oh my God. And it wasn't 1.75 inches. It was a teeny bit bigger than 1 7/8 inches, but smaller than 2 inch. I just had a hell of a time. But I took a 1 7/8 inches and expanded it to fit over the metric, and then expanded the 2 inch, then because it made it a little bit to get all of it together. So I got it, but another like 4 hours of playing with a dumb thing, trying to figure out.
Have you got one of those muffler pipe expansion tools?
I rented one.
Oh, did you? I've got one. I've never used it, but we got Gerald and Jeff both keep coming in and going at the same time, and neither one of them can get a lock on it.
Mm-mm. Well, Mike was having a problem too. I mean,
yeah,
I got a good signal now, but it keeps dropping down and coming back, and so I don't know. But here in Michigan, I guess, and I didn't know about it because I switched off from Verizon to T-Mobile, but all of Michigan, I guess Verizon, all their towers went down yesterday for like 6 hours or something. But they said there's all kinds of internet problems here in Michigan and stuff like that. So I really don't know. Yeah, I still see Gerald's stuff on there.
Yeah. Jeff popped on and popped back off. I don't know what's going on.
So you
Yeah,
got
Steve Fitton says it must be those Russians.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got a heater in your shop?
What about the shop?
You got a heater in there.
Oh, I've got a space heater, and
Okay.
and that's about it. But if I put it next to the table, it makes a nice warm little area to work in. Hey, Trayan, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, good. How you guys?
Glad you were able to get on. We got Gerald and Jeff trying to get on, and they can't hook up. They keep coming and going and coming and going. So,
well, then you can have your winter building stuff then this winter. I'll get it all ready for next spring. And
yeah, it gets warm enough, and it's not so cold in the winter that heater doesn't help. I'd like to have two heaters, but I don't. I'm scared I'm gonna burn the building down if I plug two heaters in at the same time and draw too much current. I'm constantly going and feeling the walls to make sure they're not warm around the outlet, and so far it's holding out okay, but I just don't trust it. That building was built in 1948, and I've put new sockets in it and switches, but behind the walls is still the old stuff.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Jeff Riley just came on to the video. I mean, to the chat box and said had no video on Jitsi. So, oh well. Sorry, Jeff. I saw you trying to get on and off, but anyway, I hope maybe Gerald will have better luck. But he seems to be having a similar problem. So what you been up to, Tryon?
School.
Going to school.
School.
Yeah.
And let me think. School and
More school.
Oh, did I mention school?
Oh yeah, and getting up early to go to school.
Yes, and that too.
Yeah.
Gets up early to go to school, comes home, and spends the rest of his time doing homework.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
Yeah. Hey, but it's worth it. It'll be worth it. I guarantee you. You're going to be a good engineer. You already are.
I hope so.
Will
I think,
will it make you more money, or will it just something you want to know and so you can apply it to other things in life?
Is there an A and B option?
I'd have to say both.
As I said, is there an A and B option?
Yeah.
All of the above options.
There is for some people, but as far as you're concerned, I'd guess both without a question, because you're obviously got this in your blood. You know, I mean, it's like me. I'm a natural born mechanic who went and studied electronics, and it was a good combination.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, I purchased 3 accelerometers, and I have an Arduino board, and pretty soon I'm gonna start playing with it. I want to develop my own timers. That's what I want to do ultimately, and so that's that.
Now, I just got this new phone, and I was looking through it to see what it has or whatever, which, but it talks about an accelerometer, some kind of a G-force something, and something else.
Mm-hmm. The gyro.
Yeah, gyro.
Yeah.
So the phone has all that in there, but what is like the accelerometer in a G-force deal? Isn't that kind of the same thing or not?
Yes. Yeah, the G-force is a form of acceleration, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I was wondering why there was both in here, but
yeah. When you say that something moves, for example, at 9.81 meters per second, that it's the gravitational acceleration.
no.
So you can say that object moves at 1 g, for example.
Let me
So
interrupt a
is
second.
there a
while
reason
Jeff,
you would
let me
use?
interrupt a second while Jeff's here. Jeff, just try talking and see if you can talk without your camera, because that's almost as good. We just don't have to see you.
Oh, well, we didn't want to see him anyways.
No, it doesn't sound. I don't hear Jeff talking either. So, oh well. Anyway, carry on.
Is there a reason why then you'd use an accelerometer over a G-force sensor?
You use accelerometer to calculate acceleration, and the g-force is just a relationship, a ratio,
Oh,
right?
okay.
It's just a ratio, Steve.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you could do the same thing with both of them or not.
It's like saying g-force is 5, for example,
Yeah,
right?
G-force can be static,
So
right?
it is static because it's just constant, right?
Yeah, but acceleration is an ever-changing
I mean,
quantity.
yeah, it's just like for example, if you're planning to do a loop, how much is your butt being pushed into the seat, right?
Yeah,
Has certain force, right? And that force has an acceleration component of it.
Mm.
And if you compare that acceleration component to the natural gravitational acceleration, it's just dividing the two, one to the other, and just this gives you so many g forces. It's just a different way of saying kilograms or pounds or.
and acceleration can contain a change in direction as well as a change in thrust.
Yes.
So I didn't know if you could use that as a sensor and make it work different or.
Well, some school of thoughts are that I think Igor Burgers is measuring the centrifugal force acceleration, right?
Yeah.
So we are pulling in a normal like a 5.52, 5.3 second lap time. You're pulling about 3 Gs or so, 3 times the weight of the plane. That's the pull that you feel in your handle. And he's measuring that, okay? So if that is diminishing, then it speeds up the more. If it's increasing, it slows down the more. That's pretty much the logic in over there. I think that's what he's using. I don't know what he's using or anything like that because he's very secretive about his logic in his software that he puts in that stuff, right? So yeah,
I just wondered if there was to be an advantage over using one and the other, because I know with his, if the wings go up and down, that'll speed up or slow down, the airplane. And if one would not look at that and just look at just the one plane and not both planes or whatever.
Yeah, if you look at it, there are some problems in using that as a reference, and I don't think he's using that as a reference. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's using that for reference. What I think simple as like when you're in level flight at 5 feet, you feel the full 3 Gs, 3 times the weight of the plane, right?
Yeah.
But when you're overhead, you have the 3 Gs, the pull from the plane, right? But if you subtract from that the weight of the plane, it's only 2 Gs on the top, okay?
Yeah.
Make sense? So you have this 30%, 33% variation into this pull on the lines, depending on where the plane is in a hemisphere, right?
Yeah.
It's either overhead or at 45 and stuff like that, So, and it's not a linear progression. Linear progression would be like at 1 degree you lose 1%, another degree you lose another percent, another degree. No, it's not like that,
Well, I know Fioretti,
Mm-hmm.
his new timer has a thing in there you can adjust G-force,
So
that you can. It's supposed to look at overhead and wing overs and stuff like that different than it looks at you making turns. But I don't know how he's doing it, if he added something to it or whatever. But now you can put the G-force thing in there.
Yeah.
But he may be doing that with the accelerometer, but doesn't really seem like he could.
I'm not sure what he's using. I mean, the general approach is you either go with an accelerometer or with a gyroscope or both or a combination of both, something like that.
And I'm wondering if that new 6.6 has a combination of both or something. So, because somehow you can dial in. I dialed it to 0, but I was talking to people that are using it. They said that they've been just trying it to figure out where it needs to be set for certain maneuvers where the G-force, is directly overhead, and you lost the tension and it speeds it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the bunch of things that are not, they may not add up with that logic, and even with electric, which is super consistent, even with these electronic systems that we have, we still have some wind up. And I know Mark was having some wind up. He said that as he lowered the sensitivity, the plane would start to wind up because it wasn't braking as hard as before. So he has some issues over there. Anyways, somebody on Stunt Forum suggested a certain accelerometer, which is not an accelerometer. It's 9 degrees of freedom built-in chip that also has on board built into it some kind of a mathematical processor that does the math to it, right?
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that it can calculate is the angular velocity. Okay, so angular velocity is very similar to speed, right? In speed, you measure some quantity of distance that's traveled in a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah.
So it's some kind of distance over some amount of time, right? Angular velocity is how many degrees you change in a time. Make sense?
Yeah.
So no, the thing is I'm not if you look in a horizontal plane of the model, if you're looking at wings and fuselage, and you create a plane over there, so in that plane, at constant speed, you have a constant angular velocity, okay?
Yep.
Because it takes you 5.3 seconds, whatever, to complete a full lap, right? But it doesn't matter in which direction you fly, or if you're upside down or something like that, that angular velocity remains the same. So I'm thinking about using this. The reason for which I bought this particular accelerometer, which is not an accelerometer, it's actually a gyro with accelerometer with magnetometer. It has everything inside of it, right? So it's because it can do the calculations and it has this particular output that I'm looking for, right? So the idea is to use that output in this plane and call that angular velocity constant. And if the angular velocity is increasing, that means the plane is speeding up, so which will slow down the motor. If the angular velocity is decreasing, that means the plane is slowing down, so the motor is gonna speed up. And this is independent of wind. It's independent of G-forces, is independent of a lot of things that can be variable, right?
Yeah.
like I said, the G forces in level flight is the whole plane is pulling out, right? But when you're overhead, you have to subtract the weight of the plane. So if you have 3 Gs here, you have only 2 on the top.
Yeah.
And at 45 is somewhere in between. Okay, so but the angular velocity, you don't care. And if you fly in 20, 30 miles per hour winds, it still doesn't care, because it flies around you, right?
Yeah.
You still fly in the same hemisphere. So the plane will instantly sense that it's plowing through the wind or the wind is behind, and will not care for that. It just will still maintain constant angular velocity. So I'm thinking about that's the direction which I would like to go. Just use that, and in addition to that, I want to have some what I call modifiers, right? The up line, the down line, and use some data from the accelerometer to figure out what is the angle relative to the horizontal, right? And if it's diving or climbing. And based on that, I say I can have some modifiers, take some away from this, slow it down, actually, modify the angular velocity, slow it down as you come down, right? So you fly 5.4, 5.5, 5.6 lap time, as at the time you'd have to pull out that inverted corner.
Yeah.
Just kind of hit the brakes when you go down, or accelerate a little bit stronger when you go up. So I think about things like that, but you have to work in steps. Take one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
So I have an Arduino board that has an SD card built into it, and what I would like to do, just set that up, put it inside the plane, and just put a flight on the plane. And after that, I want to pull the SD card and look at the data that it records. Okay.
Yeah.
And after it records all of the data, I can look at the data and I say, okay, well, this kind of makes sense. I see the wing over starts here, whatever, and I can make some sense of it, right? And once you have the data, you can pretty much figure it out. Yeah, this kind of, I can just, for example, I can look at the angular velocity, and I can just look at that and I say, yeah, that kind of confirms what I thought,
Yeah.
because if I know normally it kind of keeps the speed constant when I'm flying with the Igor system or whatever system, right? Then when I see the same data over there, then I know the two things: that the machine, the sensor is sensing what I needed to sense. It's in the parameters that I'm looking for, right? And that'll be the first step, right? And the second step will be to start to see how to implement that. And how to put it together. But the good part of this whole thing is that I have full control over it.
Yeah.
I can do anything with it. So, yeah, most of all, you learn something in the process.
Yeah.
Jeff Riley says that all sounds good, but still sounds like Romulan training to me. I'll just stick with 5% fuel and my favorite, the old Fox 35.
Okay.
Whatever works for you. Whatever
There's
works
room
for you.
for everybody. There's room for everybody. Are you going to the Huntersville?
No. Stronger or smarter heads prevailed. I got to thinking about it and realized that there was no way I could really go up there and have fun. I wouldn't be mobile enough, even without getting exhausted. And really, it was only earlier this week that I could actually walk at all without some kind of mechanical assistance, be it a walker or if I'd had a rollator, maybe I was thinking about going with that. But I didn't have one and I couldn't get one in time. And I think it's probably as much as I hate it, it's probably the better idea that I just stayed home. I'm not up to it. I just get
Yeah.
exhausted way too easy. So
You need
yeah,
to get you one of them hover rounds.
I'm not ready for that yet. I'm on the incline, not the decline.
Well,
So
what it was is that I seen this guy, and he had a little shelf on the back of his car, and it would tip down, and he could drive that thing up on there and get off. And he
yeah,
walking.
I know.
It was just when he had to go across uneven ground, walking in grass or doing stuff like that, that he would use that.
Yeah, that's what's extremely hard for me. And Huntersville is nothing but knotty grass and gravel.
And
And
so,
in order to go from one circle to the next or down to the combat section, that's all of that is more than I'm capable of walking without getting exhausted. It's unbelievable just how weak I am. I'm getting stronger a lot, faster than I could ever hope for. But it was too early for something like Huntersville. I wanted to go real bad, but uh, it would have been unrealistic. It would have been too much for Holly to look out for me too, and
Yeah.
so
but yeah, I mean, he always has it with him. And it's like he'll unload his car with it, get all of his planes up there, all that kind of stuff, park it, and then he does whatever, what he wants to do. And then if he gets tired, he sets down or whatever. But yeah, taking everything back.
another thing with me too is if I were to fall down, it would probably be the end of the line. I don't have any more comebacks left in me right now. So
Yeah,
I'm playing it safe, and I've had too many setbacks to risk it.
No, that's the good decision.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too.
I was asking because I'm considering going over there, but then I'm looking at the weather. It's like
Yeah,
crap.
that's what that storm's going to do.
Yeah.
They kind of that's guesswork, and that'd be a long way to go just to get rained out. So
Yeah, they say tomorrow is gonna rain all day. The weather forecast for tomorrow, it's rainy.
I think
For
Sunday is the rain day up there.
for Sunday they said it's gonna be sunny, but it's
Oh
gonna be
well,
sunny and
it's a never
windy.
changing forecast then. So
Yeah,
your guess
sunny
is
and
as
windy.
good as
And last
mine.
time that they said it was 9 miles per hour, that was not. It was like 15 miles per hour with
Yeah.
around those trees over there. Were just like nightmare to fly in those conditions.
Now that May a couple of years ago, it was like 25 miles an hour, I think, but it was clear weather though. But lots of thermals and lots of twisters coming through those trees. Had some spectacular almost crashes. But
Yeah, really the only thing that I hang my hat on is 100% chance of darkness at night.
yeah,
And the sun's going to come up in the morning. And besides that, shit changes hour by hour.
so like Steve Carlin, the old hippy dippy weatherman. Well, tonight the forecast is for darkness and continued darkness until morning.
Yeah.
Nah, is it?
Oh, Steve Carlin was pretty funny back in the day.
Oh, you mean George Carlin?
George Carlin, yeah. Steve Carlin was a Carolina football coach at one time. So, yeah.
Carolina
And the 7 dirty words that you couldn't say on television, that was another one of his funny routines.
South Carolina's playing some good football this year.
Off and on, they've unfortunately lost a couple that I wish they hadn't, but they beat Georgia last week, and that was a big surprise. And they played well on their third string quarterback.
Now, didn't they play Alabama?
They pushed Alabama around like there was no tomorrow, but Alabama still prevailed. But I felt good about them because they didn't give up. They played hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a good team. I mean, he's putting together a good team. But yeah, I couldn't believe they beat Georgia. I thought Georgia was up there with Alabama and stuff, which is probably
Everybody did.
pretty close. But yeah, they ended up beating Georgia, and it's like, wow.
Yep. That was a big surprise at Georgia too. So that was great. That was a big game for Carolina. And tomorrow's Florida, and I think Florida's got some serious injuries, like Carolina does. They're on their third string quarterback, but maybe Carolina can pull it out tomorrow and have a chance of taking the East this year.
Yeah, getting a good bowl game at least and stuff like that.
That's the main thing. If they can get into a good bowl game, that'd be great. So, do you pull for any of the Trey? And do you pull for any of the local college teams like Tech or UGA? Any of those? Are you a football fan?
Not really. To be honest with you, I don't have cable in a house or anything like that to catch any games, so get into it or something like that.
Yeah.
If I was to be with some buddies or something like that and go and watch a game together, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I watch it. It's enjoyable. But I don't make a point to set time aside to go watch the games or whatever.
You don't fly the colors and get rabid about it and stuff.
No.
Yeah. You get into soccer at all? Or?
I don't have time for that, Steve.
Yeah, soccer's boring to me. I'll tell you what, though, those are some serious athletes. They run. I don't know how long a soccer game is, but you start the
90
game and
minutes.
they run without stopping for however long it is, man.
90 minutes.
90 minutes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
That's like my buddy from England and stuff. I mean, he's still a big soccer fan. You know, he calls it football.
Football, yeah, which makes more sense actually.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, our football, he didn't grow up with it. Same thing with baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He likes cricket and he likes soccer, you know, but that's what he did as a kid, and what you get used to is the sport you like.
I don't really give a rip about basketball. And if Carolina's playing well, then I enjoy it. But other than that, I won't stop and watch a basketball game.
Yeah.
I like to watch basketball on TV. I don't like to watch it in a stadium. Only thing I like to watch in a stadium is baseball. I love to go to a baseball game. Football, never see what the hell's going on. They're always
I've been to a few Braves games, and we had a minor league team here in Columbia for years, and I had season tickets to that. But it was all about drinking beer and visiting with your friends and hooting and hollering, and it was fun.
You know what makes it more fun? To have a Romanian over there. To have a Romanian over there.
Yeah.
Asking questions, but why is he doing that? What's that? That's what I thought about the rules. Why is this guy taking a lead? You know.
Well, that's like my buddy from Switzerland.
It's fun.
We go to a baseball game. He ain't understanding none of it. You know, what's this? And, you know, that's the pitcher. He goes,
it's hard to explain baseball.
He goes, how many things here do you have with the same name? He goes, you have a pitcher. That's a pitcher. That's a pitcher. This, you know, because of, you know, a pitcher of water, a pitcher on the wall. And now you have a pitcher out there throwing a ball. And he's like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You use the same word too much.
So that's Romanian for you. Imagine you had an Indian on top of it next to you. That's all kind of crazy questions. I mean, it's just fun. It was a good comedy over there going on the sidelines. And yeah, but I did play a little bit of baseball as a church activity, and I had a ball with that. Right, that was fun. Yeah. So it's a lot more fun to just play than just watch it. I also play soccer with them, and I had a fun time with that. I remember having an activity and somewhere, and I wound up playing soccer, and I completely ignored the whole activity over there. And a few of us we're just playing soccer constantly over there. Just have a blast.
Yeah, when I lived there in Switzerland, them guys would, lunchtime or whatever, just in a little patch of ground. They really weren't playing soccer. They were just working on their footwork with the ball and the shit that they could do with that ball. Spin it, bring it back to them, and just do all kinds of crazy shit. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, some of them have some very nice ball control.
And they go out every lunch hour and practice their ball control. Because on the weekends they belong to a little league or church or whatever, and they played kind of like we have softball tournaments here and play softball.
Yeah,
that's what they did, and they were always practicing, and they're like, "Come on out, mess around." Shit, I couldn't kick the damn ball wherever I could kick it, but I just didn't want to go where.
Have you ever seen those movies in Europe and you see those very tall concrete buildings with a bunch of apartments inside?
Yeah.
Well, I lived in one of those buildings when I was growing up, and there was just my building in the center, and we had more buildings on the side surrounding this terrain that was right in between the middle of them, right? And on that field over there, we used to meet almost every day and play soccer. I would come back from school and we just stay at home. And as soon as you see one of the kids coming out with a ball over there, like, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm out of here," gone. And she wouldn't see me back till 9 o'clock or something like that. I mean, dinner, who cared about that?
That's like my buddy from England there. The same fields that he played soccer on and messed around with cricket, they flew model airplanes with control line.
Cool.
It was their park, their field, or whatever. They took turns. They did it. Him and his buddies would fly control line and stuff. And other times they'd be playing soccer and.
Yeah, it's like that. So yeah, we used to have all kinds of stuff. I mean, like, you couldn't find anything in the stores, toys wise, right? So we would make our own toys. Like here, they have Nerf guns. Over there, we had blow darts, and we make paper darts, and we find a conduit of plastic that was used for electrical wiring and stuff like that. So we just take that conduit, cut it out, and make blow darts and shoot it at each other. I mean,
improvise, man. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, but this mother necessity of the mother of all invention, taught you to be pretty creative, right?
Well, my buddy from England loves diesel control line motors and RC motors and stuff like that. I think they stink. He loves the smell of them. That's what he grew up with. That's all when they flew control line, they flew diesels over there.
Yeah. Oh, diesel fuel gets old real fast.
But he just loves diesels. But
I've heard that diesel fuel is pretty stinky stuff.
It's you just imagine you have a bottle of alcohol that you spill some alcohol on the ground. That's kind of like it, or only probably even stronger than that. Because the ether evaporates so fast and expands at the same time, so you can smell it. It's a very strong smell to it. But the ether is what makes it go bang, and anyways, but yeah, those are the diesels.
To me, it's like I told them, I love the smell of a half-A running high nitro and full castor oil. That smell brings back happy memories.
Okay. Yeah, I do too. Just like I love the smell of burning rubber.
Yeah.
Or even fresh tires. I love the smell when I go into tire store too.
Yeah. It just brings back happy memories of stuff you did as a kid, It's hard to believe.
The smells are strong. Stimulant, memory stimulant.
Yeah.
The first plane I ever flew was a diesel.
Oh, was it?
No, actually, I'm lying. No, it was electric. The second one was a diesel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know diesels are big over in Europe, and he can make them run like hell. I mean, he has no problems getting diesels to run. You know, we all have problems with them, so I got a couple of them, and shit, he can get them to run. You gotta do this, and you gotta listen to that. You can hear that. It ain't the needle valve, it's the head compression and shit. I can't hear nothing. It just sounds like it's running bad to me, and I'm messing with it. But he did them for so many years that he can hear what it needs. So
yeah, I mean, you mess with the head compression until you hear like it starts to sing, and then the needle valve, and until it's really singing, and that's it.
yeah, he's always talking about singing. It ain't singing. It ain't singing. It don't know the words. I don't know what to tell you.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, it's just fun that you grow up with. You know, it's like a lot of people with half A's. I grew up with them. I love them. You know, still this day. It's like when we were at Brodeck and they had the half A flights there. There was more people watching that than anything else at Brodeck.
Wow.
You know, but everybody grew up with half A's when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think that's why.
That's,
you know, I don't know.
I wanted to make a half A plane, but I just didn't. I mean, I just don't have the time. I have a couple of projects I would like to do just for the heck of it, you know, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same thing with, you know, everything. Kids today, though, they're going to, you know, have happy memories when they hear some kind of an alert sound off their phone. Somebody 50 years from now, they'll hear that. Wow. That sounds like a phone going off.
Oh, boy. You know, yeah, just they live in a different world, and it's not the world that we live into. It's not in reality, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I mean, they're a lot smarter than we were when we were a kid. You know, the stuff we knew and learned. And
I don't know about that, you know. Yeah, well, some of them they seem real smart, right? But also some of them are just very uneducated. The ones that don't decide to continue their education. But even the ones that go to college, you know, sometimes you can get on a professor that is, you know, just fucked up in the head, and I mean, it's not helping much.
When I went to high school, to graduate, you had to have one science class, which you could pick earth science or chemistry or something else. You had to have one. You had to have general math, one class of that, and then like one history class, and you know, shit. I had shop class and gym class and all these other classes, and I graduated. But with Samantha, I mean, she had to have chemistry, she had to have biology, she had to have algebra and stuff like that.
Steve McBride's trying to join and can't. He keeps getting kicked off.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting kicked out tonight or can't get connected.
But I tell you what, there have been a lot less people graduated if they needed them kind of classes back when I graduated.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I took wood shop. I took first and second year metal shop, and
we had wood shop when I was in 5th grade and 4th grade, and 7th and 8th grade we had some metal shop. In high school we actually used machine tools, the lathe and the Bridgeport and stuff like that. So that was the shop part of it.
Yeah, we had,
and we also has classes for the shop, you know, classes in which they teach you the mechanics and the stuff like that, you know.
Well, that was like, you know, the one year I had hot metals, which was welding, forging. You know, we made molds and poured aluminum and brass and all that, you know, boundary stuff.
Oh, that's pretty advanced.
So yeah, that was one of the years, and then we had machine tools, and then they actually had small engine repair that you could take, and
Well, that's cool. That's very nice. Yeah.
Hey, Steve McBride, say something and see if we can hear you. I know you're on, but we can't see you. I guess not. Man, that's terrible. Everybody is having trouble getting in tonight.
Something, I don't know, like when we switch to this new Jitsi stuff, it's the Jitsi should put like a plaque over there saying like Jitsi, one day we work, one day we don't work, today we don't.
Yeah. I've finally gotten it figured out. All I can do on my end to make it work, but the rest is out of my hands. Don't know what the trouble is. Must be their servers.
I think one thing Jitsi does is I think you had to have so much bandwidth or whatever, or don't let you in. With the other stuff, you could have a computer and hell, we couldn't understand what you're saying or could hardly see you or whatever, and they just let anybody in. And I think this kind of the people that get in, the sound is really good, the pictures are really good, all that. So I have a feeling that they
maybe Steve always has kind of a weak connection, so I don't know. I'm sorry for you guys that are trying to get in that can't. Maybe we'll look into another platform, but right now we got what we got. So
yeah. Well, Steve, the picture is the picture, right? Sometimes you wish you don't have a picture over there when someone is talking. So, like me, for example. But
there's worse examples than you, Trey, and don't worry.
But myself, I like this Jitsi. I mean, I've never had one time where I couldn't get in. Now my phone with Verizon, I could not get in.
Yeah.
But it was bandwidth or however it worked. It wasn't fast enough or something. Now the new phone, like I said tonight, man, it just bang. I was in and going, and
same here
with T-Mobile. I mean, it's just lightning fast in everything I do.
But Steve, I think it might be the fact that we have good connection.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
If you say that Steve has a bad connection, always had a bad connection, maybe that's that.
Charles usually has a fuzzy picture, but he still gets in without any trouble. So it's hard to say. We're just guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it's software. We don't know what can happen or what is or what is not.
Somebody turns their speakers up way too loud and you get feedback or whatever.
Yeah, that was my fault when we had that problem. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And that was back when I first got back, and I was not completely engaged at the time either. So I had an easy fix right in front of me that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I'm just with you. Yep, Steve got kicked out. Well, guys, I think I'm going to get off tonight. I'm whipped. I'm an up since 7 and went to that wedding. And
okay. Well, thanks for coming in and hanging with us.
I had one beer, and that about did me in, so made me tired. But
all right, Steve. We'll have a good weekend,
everybody, and I'll be more wide awake.
And maybe Monday we'll have a Huntersville report from Mike and Sparky and whoever else went.
Yeah.
I think Mike is already there.
Yeah, he is. He actually signed in when we first started. They were out at the pool, and he and Steve Fitton and some others were out there, but they had bandwidth problems too. They kept getting cut off from the Wi-Fi at the hotel. So
yeah, I'll start texting you guys with my new phone number. So if you see a 616, it's probably me.
Okay.
I got a home.
Yeah. That's right. I remember you said something the other night about it, so I'll be on the lookout for it.
Steve, when you text it, make sure you put like, "Hey, this is Steve. This is my new phone number," or something. Put a message over there
Well, yeah, like
because I get so many phone calls from
Spam.
people that wanna,
This is the warranty
Hi.
department, or your credit. This is your credit card.
Yeah, you're qualified for whatever.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it easier and send a bunch of them out of time, and I'm like, all I sent was, "This is my new phone number."
Mm-hmm.
And John Paris recognizes the area code, and he took a chance that it was me. And he's like, "Is this you, Steve?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I probably should give you my name."
Yeah, good idea.
Might help a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I just got to remember to put my name in there and get in this damn thing because I got so many phone numbers.
Yeah, I have so many blocked phone numbers. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
What's really cool about this new phone with Android 10, because it's a Google phone and it comes with Android 10, that it's not Siri, I don't know, something assistant or whatever.
It's okay, Google.
If a number comes in, it'll say, "This looks like spam. You want me to whatever, help or something?" If I hit yes, it'll actually talk to the phone call person. It says, "This is Steve's phone," or whatever, because I got my name in there. And I'm the assistant, and he's looking at what you have, you can talk to him and he'll decide to pick up the call or not. But it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And other ones that it knows is spam, and I don't know how it knows it's a spam call. It just boots it out. It says spam, it's gone.
Verizon scans them too. They've got a list of restricted numbers. So before your phone even gets to see it, they've got it flagged, and sometimes it'll ring you once or twice and then stop, and they've cut it off before it got started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to build a half-A plane, just because do you remember when they had half-A at the Nationals?
Yeah.
I know that they did, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
wish
how
they
long
bring
ago
some
that
of that
was.
stuff back, but it's just like, I don't know. I think that people just don't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I build another plane, then I got to practice with it and this and that. And
yeah,
I love it. I mean, I'm looking forward to Brodak next year. See, what half-A stuff people come up with and bring there. And
yeah,
they had some good flying designs there this year. Really, I mean, a whole lot better than I ever thought a half-A could fly.
Oh, I had my first the half-A I built was during the first time that it was offered at a Nats the event, right?
Yeah.
So I went over there and I was flying half-A, and I had my own design, which was basically a built-up fuselage with a Billy Warwolf modified I-beam wing construction. So I had like two pieces of 1/8 inch balsa for the spar with the 1/64 plywood, and the landing gear was a 1/16 wire that was, exactly how Billy Warwolf was making all of that stuff, right? And that plane was light and very nimble. I just was flying as good as, excellent. A little bit faster than I was used to, but I was flying on some long lines. I think I had solid lines on it, 8,000 solid lines on it, and it was a very, very nice flying plane.
What happened? Give it away or something? It get broken or?
I broke it later on, but it was a very serious half-A stunt plane. It was no slouch, that thing would turn, would just fly very nice. And
have you ever flown a baby flight streak? Those are really superior flying planes.
Mhm. Yeah. No, this
I know
this
you
this
had
plane had a
your own
serious
design.
corner. I mean, I'll put over 500 points on that flight to win it. First time.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
They have flaps and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some flapped airplanes there at Brodeck. I mean, they really flew. I just didn't realize that you could flap that small airplane because I figured the drag would be too much. But
Sometimes it'll make them too squirrely, but if you get the right combination, maybe, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys, have a good weekend, and
All right.
see you later.
All right.
All
Good
right.
night,
Be
Steve.
sure and come back Monday. Maybe we'll get the Huntersville report.
Okay, sounds good.
Good night.
So
Just
yeah.
me and you, TD.
They had at that time there was a. Did you ever know the Bob? I think it's Bob Barron's plane was the Humbug.
I've heard of the Humbug.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it looks like.
Yeah. It was a non-flapped plane, or if it had the flaps, was very small, and in between the two booms, right, they would go to the back, and the booms were like look like rudders. They would tie in on the wing, and the horizontal was being held by those two booms, basically.
Mhm.
So you had two long vertical rudders that would tie in onto the wing, and they were holding the elevator basically. And the thing about it, it was like had an aspect ratio of a huge aspect ratio on that elevator. So there was a half a plane that was just very interesting looks to it or something like that. That was a very good flying plane. It had a long, huge nose.
Mhm.
It almost looked abnormally long, right? What in the world is that?
I don't know. I keep getting a message that Steve would like to talk, but I don't know what to do about it. So
Mm. Yeah.
but anyway, um, yeah, that sounds like an interesting plane. Like I said, I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
Mhm. That was a good flying plane. That was a solid flying plane.
Bob Bishop just chimed in. He knows what you're talking about too.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the plane I built for the Nats. I mean, it flew a solid pattern. Yeah, you kind of vanished over there from my list. It's just me over there right now. It looks like you are not even existing in the chat, but you're still there.
What do you?
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, never mind. No, never mind. It's still there.
Okay.
Still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, anyway.
So yeah, it's just those are the like a bucket list. I have a bucket list of planes I want to build. I would like to build, and
I
some of
fall
them.
in love with planes on a heartbeat. You know, I'll see pictures of them or one at the field, and just somehow it just touches me in a way that makes me want to have it. And I don't scratch build much. I have scratch built a few, but they were already pre-existing models other than my P-51 Reed Speed plane that I built for that Cox Engine Forum contest. And I, other than that, I've scratch built little Satans and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
not so much my own designs.
Well, a few years back, I was watching this guy that built a DC-8. No, it's not. What was that? McDonnell Douglas DC-9 or something like that. It's a one of those cigar-looking planes with two jet engines on the back, right?
Two jet engines on the back. Okay.
Yeah. Looks like a cigar in the plane, in the sky, right?
Yeah. Now 727 DC-9 had the two engines on the back.
Yeah, the DC-9, but it was much shorter than that. It's like didn't look like the long fuselage. It was much shorter. Yeah,
Well, I'm not sure
and
what a DC-8 was. Maybe that's what it is.
or
I don't know.
I don't know what I might be wrong with that. What plane was that? So this was on RC forum, and the guy did an amazing job on the plane. I mean, just like had the leading edge slats going on, had the flower flaps working. The landing gear had a lot of detail. It was machined and all the good stuff. The um, had reverse thrust on it.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
operational, and he built everything super light. And so when he was flying the plane, it gave you the sensation of the scale speed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was still a little bit quicker than the scale speed, but to achieve scale speed in a small model like that, it's something. So I was kind of inspired by his project way back when, So I said, man, I'd like to build something similar to that, just tackle on a project like that. And for a while now, I have my eyes on an Airbus 220.
Mm,
Uh, and the reason for that choice is because the Airbus 220 has some huge motors in the front, right? So if you scale it down, you have those huge motors, which is something that you need in
yeah.
a RC copy. Plus, it has a nice wing area to it as well.
Yeah, that's a
So
big. It's a big stubby engine with a wide diameter, isn't it? Is that what I'm thinking of?
yeah, like it's very similar to a Dreamliner, only it's like just a smaller size plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about between the two of them, either the Dreamliner or the 220. And 220 is a little bit simpler around the flaps area, but what I really wanted to do, I just really wanted to do like a uber light plane, right?
Hmm.
Have uh, super light plane with glider technology built into it, right? On the wings and stuff like.
Sculpt the fuselage and the engines and all out of styrofoam.
Mhm. No, that would be molded. It was going to be molded
Uh,
with molded fuselage, with molded parts or stuff like that. Because I can make the fuselage in. I mean, uh, I can build a plane like that in maybe 150 ounces or something like that.
yeah,
How much is that? About 10 pounds?
100 and let's say it'd be no, that's not 10 pounds, is it? Hang on just a second. 3 times.
16 ounces per pound or something like that?
I got my calculator up and give me the numbers again.
I'm thinking about 150 ounces or something like that for a 3-4 meter span, which would make the wing loading pretty low. I think that would make it just a beautiful flying plane.
I'm getting 5 pounds. If I did, I might not have done that right. I don't know.
You're probably right. Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking something super light, right? Just a super light plane.
Yeah,
But if I was going to do that, I was going to go downtown on it, right? The flaps would extend just like on a real plane when they move backwards first, right? And then they drip down. Uh, the I would have the leading edge slats that drop down as well. Um, that combination of
yeah,
full.
the slats. That sounds pretty. That sounds like quite an undertaking. But
Yeah, I don't do simple stuff, right? But everything would be nice and scale and really accurate. So if I was going to do a scale model, it would be a scale model when you're done with it. So that's one of the things that on my bucket list. Um, then another thing that was on my bucket list was that 40 size wood built up uh, plane that I was talking to you about last time, right?
yeah,
And and this half a plane, but that's about it. I don't know what else.
I'd love to dabble more with half A now that I'm, finally building one. That's the perfect thing for me to start scratch building with if I want to practice scratch building, because I can draw that out and
Mm-hmm.
and not waste as much wood if I totally botch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I'd say I probably ought to make me a little bucket list of builds. I don't really have one right now. I
Mm-hmm.
had a Hyper Viper on one. I wanted to build a profile Hyper Viper for a 10 or a 15 size, and kind of scratched that idea. I even got it drawn up. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
scratched that idea now that I got the CNC Hyper Viper that I'm building. But
Mm-hmm.
I could still do that. But I'd like to do my own design, like you were talking about. Just come up with something
Yeah.
completely new and fresh.
Yeah.
I know I could make one that flies. I mean, the numbers for the moment arms and all can be taken from just about any other good flying plane, like a Flight Streak or something like that, scaled down to
Yeah.
whatever I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can probably even take a full size stunt plane and just scale it down a little
Yeah.
bit, Make the cord a little bit more than what's on a full size plane, but the rest is kind of the same.
Yeah, I usually actually do think about that. Like when I built my Mustang, and when I actually redesigned the jumping bean,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of a self-design. Actually, when I made the refried bean, the only thing it had to do with the jumping bean was the same shaped wing tips and
Mm-hmm.
elevator, but all the sizes were different, and it flew really well. So I could
Yeah.
call that a scratch build if I,
Yeah.
really wanted to.
That's
But
for a halfway it would be just super easy to
yeah,
make a nice light fuselage for it, but
if my flying days are limited,
uh
half A is another thing. It would be easy for me to get out there and play with
and
too.
hold on it, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be fast.
it is. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just something to think about.
Yeah. It's like if I was to build an electric plane, I would just build with molded shells on the fuselage. That's something for sure I would implement. If I was a half a plane, I would definitely do that.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, just you can make a on a band, so you can cut the profile of the plane on like MDF or something like that. You sand them, block sand them, right?
yep,
And then you build with foam the two sides and use one of the blocks to do one side and the other one to do the other side. And then you take a razor blade and you glue it on top of a foam of the MDF that's exactly the same, the same size, right?
hmm,
And you just walk it around the shell, and then it's going to cut your parting line perfectly. And now as you put the two parting lines, two shells together, all you have to do is just be careful about, you know, use some scotch tape and stuff like that, and
yeah,
maybe jig it out a little bit so you have the parting line nice and level. Done deal. That's it. You have a fuselage. That'd be easy.
yeah,
And before you join it, what I would do? I would use some you know what you want to do. This is what you want to do. You want to use some carbon fiber cloth, right?
yeah.
And
Carbon
Navel.
pail, or just a regular symmetrical weave.
Yes, carbon cloth, and you put it 45 degrees bias. It's
Hmm.
not going to be a 090. It's 45, right?
Yeah,
And you laminate that on the inside and on one edge. Okay, if you put the fuselage sides like this, side by side, right?
hmm,
You go start at the parting line and let it go extra on the other side. Okay, and you do the same thing on the other side, parting line a little extra. So
yeah.
now as they come together,
Then they overlap. Yeah,
exactly what you want to do, you stagger them, you bring them together, and you move them together like this. And I have a little bit of piece over there on the inside that overlaps on the seam.
hmm,
So when you can use Scotch tape at this time, and you just kind of put the two halves together, align them as best as you can, stuff like that. And once you're happy, you just give it some thin CA and tack it in place, and that thin CA is going to wick inside, and also glue the parting line, which is carbon
Yep.
fiber with carbon fiber. That thing is going to be stiff. And it's super easy. Like that's that there you go. You have a fuselage, and all you have to do at that point is just align it on a flat table. Use some way to trace horizontal lines and stuff like that to trace where the elevator is gonna go, where the the
Yeah.
rest of the stuff is gonna go, and just normal stuff to me, anyways.
Yeah. Well, maybe my future involves getting more interested in building and designing. That would be cool. That's
Yeah,
kind of something to get excited about. So yeah,
yeah. I'm into this because of I think it's the way I grew up. It has a huge.
goes back to having to improvise things to play with, I guess.
Yeah, we had nothing. We had 3 millimeter plywood, which is a light ply that we have here,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the light ply. It was a heavier stuff, right? And um, so we had that. We had some spruce sticks, which was like the 1/4 inch by the 1/8 inch. Half inch by 1/8 inch variety,
Yeah.
or it was a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch cross section. Those were the only two sticks that were in stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some foam and hardwood was pretty easy to come by. We could probably just go to a place where they would build furniture and stuff like that and ask them to cut us a couple of sticks or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were pretty nice about it. But that was it. And say, hey, make a plane out of this shit. So we learned to improvise, and I went to a competition one time, and I saw these guys flying combat planes. So I stole the idea of their combat planes, and I adapted for a aerobatic plane.
Mm-hmm.
And and I would build the 2-3 ribs out of that thick plywood, and I would put the half inch by 1/8 inch sticks on the top and the bottom of the foam around the leading edge, and I would shape that. I would use the ribs as a template, and because I didn't have a hot wire, I used a long piece of wood with a sandpaper on it.
Yeah.
And I was bridging across the two ends so to shape the leading edge. And that's how we made the wings. For flaps, we were usually taking a piece of a stick of this spruce wood. Oh, by the way, there was not balsa wood, there was spruce wood, okay, or pine wood sticks, something like that, one of the two.
Yeah. Spruce is the lightest of all of the evergreen woods, I think.
Okay, yeah. So it was one of them, either pine wood or spruce wood, one of them, anyways.
Yeah.
And we would use that to make a leading edge out of it, and then we glue foam behind it, and again, like, we use some kind of technique to shape the foam, and we put the paper from the grocery store on top of it. We would seal the plane with the was the clear coat that you put on your hardwood floor, kind of stuff.
Yeah, urethane, I guess.
Yeah, it was some kind of urethane or something like that. So that's what I used to seal the plane. The fuselage would be those sticks, basically. We made the frame out of it, and that was the fuselage. Elevator, I used to make like I'll put the 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch vertical as a trailing edge, put foam in front of it, and put the 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch in the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I will shape the foam between them, so it's kind of triangular-ish shape, tapering towards the leading edge. Yeah, we improvise everything. It's just one of those days. Those planes do.
Yeah, I like improvising. I mean, it's something to be proud of when it actually works.
But yeah, it kind of worked, but it didn't really work. Uh, well, the motors were bad. They had no life in them. You'd break them in. They have maybe 15, 20 flights after that.
Yeah,
Just really crap stuff. Uh, and then I came here and I built a similar plane. Now I use balsa wood and stuff like that. I had an OS Max 35,
you can't get better than that.
and yeah, it was okay, but I didn't know how to build the fuselage to make it rigid and the nose rigid,
Yeah,
and made a mistake over there, so it was vibrating too much, so the engine run was really bad. So, but on that plane, at least I learned how to do like a wing over, loops, fly inverted, and do outside maneuvers. I think I learned everything on that plane except for the hourglass, vertical 8, and 4-leaf clover. I got about that far on that plane,
yeah,
and that's it's like the engine not quitting when I wouldn't trust the engine, I wouldn't trust the plane, I wouldn't trust anything. And I said, you know what, I had enough. This is it. I want to build a good plane. So I moved slightly up in quality after that.
hmm
I built an Intrepid with a 46 VF twin pipe motor, carbon fiber prop.
that was a big increase in quality.
A little bit, yeah. And when I flew that plane for the first time, I go like, my jaw just dropped. I'm going like, ah, just imagine going from something that's a twister looks glorious in comparison to that. to an
Did you have do you have any body to work with? Any friends that were doing it too, or were
no,
you just a lone wolf?
by myself, yeah.
Yeah.
I could build. I can build, right? So
hmm
even back then I could build. So I managed to do it. I follow the plans. I did exactly what the plan said to do, and that's exactly what I did. And it did turn out very, very well. In 1 month after that, after I completed the plane, I knew how to fly the whole pattern. The motor would start, would run the whole pattern, would stop. No burps, none of that stuff. The plane would just put it wherever I want to put it. That's where it went.
Yeah,
So it took me about a month to learn the rest of the pattern.
and you were off and running then.
Oh my
Nothing like
God,
a
yeah.
little quality materials and little building building knowledge from failed efforts in the past to get you going.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it's like what struck me at the time is that the level of acceleration in when you learn something, right? Having an equipment that will perform and will not miss a beat,
Yep.
it frees your mind to do anything else, everything else,
Yeah.
because you're no longer worried, is he gonna quit on me?
Oh
You're no
yeah.
longer worried, he's gonna stay there. Is he
When
gonna
it's a
is the
chore to fly a plane, it's just
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, so you're no longer fighting anything. It's just like you're learning. I mean, you have if whenever you're playing it's far better than what you can fly, then you can move up. You can increase in your skills. If your plane is shit and you're a better flyer than that, all you do is fighting,
hmm
right? Now there are some pilots that are super super good. Will take a piece of shit and make it fly.
Yeah.
They will fly a pattern with it when you know they look at it and go like, "Holy smokes!" Is that my plane flying over there? you
Yeah.
know, am I seeing
Those guys
double now? It's in a trance or whatever.
those guys are few and far between that can just pick up any plane and make it work, whether the plane wants to do it or not.
That's what I used to do. I used to do that stuff. I would go to Chicago area. There was a group of guys that were flying there every Sunday, and I mean, nice group. I mean, we had like at least 6 to 8 guys over there every Sunday flying, and they would put their lines towards the center and the planes outside, and then you just fly and just pick up the plane, put it in a fly line. They didn't have like a pit area for the planes and stuff like that, so they were kind of nice about landing in one side so they don't roll over everybody else's lines. But anyways, it wasn't a big deal. So I would go over there and they would say like, hey, did you bring anything to fly? I said, nah, I'm just gonna look today and stuff like that. He said, you want to fly? I said, yeah, sure. So I go ahead and grab the handle. So I'd grab the handle, I would fly the airplanes, and boy, oh boy, sometimes you have to do magic with them to make them do anything.
Yeah.
And some were very decent, some were very bad. But you do get commentaries like I didn't know this plane can do a triangle. I said,
Yeah.
you know what? You're absolutely right. It cannot.
It's true. You can make the owner of the plane go, wow.
They were telling me after that, a while after, they said, we always they would go like, I always enjoy you flying my plane because I was watching you flying it and you were flying it better than I ever flew my whole life before that. And you just cold turkey, just grab the handle and do that with it. Just they said it was something,
Yeah.
But I was, just I was feeling the plane, and I know, okay, this plane can do this, cannot do this, and stuff like that. And I was just flying around the problems, basically. Because as soon as I felt it, I knew what it could do, and I said, okay, now let's fly this thing. And so I would just fly around the problems, and knowing where the problems are and what to avoid was just kind of most of the battle over there. So sometimes I had to run backwards to make it do a loop.
Oh yeah.
That's what I had to do. I did it. So that's that. I had another story when I went over there one time, and there was a guy that was getting ready to go to fly the Nats, and he just built his first plane, his Nats plane, and again he said, "Hey, you want to fly it? See what you think about it." So I flew it, and so I flew the plane. I almost crashed it. Right, brand new plane, and it would not turn. I mean, that thing would just not turn. I mean, we just had to have, you have a tough time just make it turn, make it do a loop or anything like that. So I just started to pile on the tail weight over there. It was a heavy plane, and that was one of my experience. It's like after that, by the time we were done with it, we added, I think we had 3 or 4 of those squares, like the tip weight squares that you put on a
yeah, those little 7-gram squares.
Yeah, we put like 3 or 4 of them on a tail, and it got to the point, like I said, like it's too sensitive now, right, on the handle.
And just back off a little bit or adjust the handle. Yeah.
Oh no, you adjust the handle, right?
Yeah.
Because the plane was heavy. So I was talking to him, and the method to my madness was, plane is heavy, is gonna track. It's just normal. You have a freight train going forward, it's gonna still go forward, right?
Like on rails. Yep.
Exactly. You have a train made out of balloons going forward. You can just on it, and it's gonna move, right? So it's just heavy plane tracks. Light plane doesn't really like to track, right? So you have to make it track at a time. So because it tracks already, you don't care if the CG is back, but you kind of heavy plane with aft CG. It's a good marriage, in my opinion. A light plane with forward CG, it's also a good marriage.
Yeah.
If you go opposite of those, no, never gonna work. So that's that was the idea. By the time we so I flew that plane like 4 or 5 flights back to back. Make a change, flight. Make a change, fly. Make a change, flight. And after that, I gave it to him, and it was like, holy smoke, this is a lot better. Just like it was turning, it was cornering, it was doing all kinds of good stuff over there. It was I think the plane had like over 700 square inch area, but was like also an 80-ounce plane or something like that.
Big
So
plane. Yeah.
so yeah, PA60 3-blade prop. I thought the prop was just too big for the motor. I don't know. The motor wouldn't take it. And you can tell that, right? You know how to tell that.
Well, if it's bogging when you're pulling up into loops and stuff, you're over propped.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you do a loop and the motor runs away and it
Yeah.
doesn't come down, the prop is too small.
Right.
Yeah, you need to load up the motor. If you do a
And
loop and it doesn't break in a 2-cycle, it's too big.
yeah.
So somewhere in between. So yeah, I thought it was just not exactly perfect, but you can get by with it, with what was there.
Too
And
big of a prop will make it hinge in the corners more too. So the
yes, that's true.
gyroscopic effects.
But you have no choice, right? If you don't load the motor properly, you never get a good motor run.
No.
As simple as that. Yeah, if you have to use a big prop, then you have to use a big prop to get the motor to run properly. There's no way around it. Uh, this is IC world, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. But the idea is that what I was trying to get is he said the plane was too sensitive. So what we did, he closed in the line spacing
Mm-hmm.
to. I mean, just like and in any plane, I think it's not a bad idea to push the CG back. As long as the plane is tracking and is stable, keep moving the CG back.
Absolutely. If it tracks, then push it back until it doesn't, and then ease back
Back it off.
a little or adjust the handles more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, then you suit your flying style with a handle adjustment.
if the CG is too far back, it doesn't matter how narrow you've got your line spacing. It's gonna hunt. But
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but as you push the CG back, you're gonna see that point where it starts to hunt, right?
yeah,
And maybe if we push it even more a little bit after this, it's gonna hunt even more. So like, whoa, this is as far as I'm gonna be comfortable with
that's
it, right?
it gets pretty hairy when you get too far back on the CG. I've had some
Yeah.
pretty damn exciting flights.
Yeah, they can get excited there. So that's yeah. But the what I'm trying to say is that the further the CG is back, the less deflection you have on the control surfaces.
Yeah.
Right. The less deflection you have control surfaces, that means you maintain the momentum of the plane. You don't have that air brake and the plane goes like, and from here just go like, oh
yeah,
tries to get back up to speed.
Throttle.
No, it just goes, turns and continues on, just powers through, right? Because it has a little drag on it in a corner. That's the idea. It has the least amount of drag in a corner.
Yep.
So I think if the plane is heavy, then you want to maintain this momentum because you might have the power to fly the level flight, right? But as you push the nose up, even if the motor breaks, there's so much weight to accelerate.
Oh yeah. If you just
from this speed to that speed,
you've bled all of your energy off, and
yep,
and can't do the climb not gracefully anyway.
yeah. So by pushing the CG back on a heavy plane, you maintain the momentum, and you can have a tight corner, and you can get to the next one pretty much okay, right? So the opposite is true of a light plane. The light plane with the because it doesn't like to track very well, then you need to push the CG forward to make it track.
Yep.
Or lock it in a little bit better, right? But that's, again, I think it's like there is a place where you have too far forward. You went too far. So because it's a light plane, that means you can accelerate. Even though you slow it down in a corner, it will get back up to speed before you hit the next one, right? So you can afford more deflection on the control surfaces, and you can afford that loss in speed during the corner. Loops are pretty much fine on every one of them, right? So that's why I'm saying like a good marriage is like a super light plane with the forward CG or a heavy plane with an FCG. And of course there are other issues, right? You know, like the design considerants, right? So uh, as the elevator goes further back, right, and it has more surface area, the plane is going to become more pitch stable, right? So a plane like that will, even though it's light, can afford a more aft CG on it. And that's pretty much what I'm running on my Revolutions right now. I'm running a relatively aft CG. I mean, it's not relatively, it's pretty aft because I need to add some nose weight to it. I know that for a fact. So it just was the best balance for the plane. You know, I think it's a mistake. Let me wrap it up with this. I think it's a mistake to say, I want to have my handle, and this is the spacing on a handle, and I'm going to move the CG on a plane until the plane flies to my liking because I'm using this spacing on a handle. I think you should maximize the performance of the plane, right? First, you maximize the performance of the plane with the least amount of deflection, with a maximum corner, maximum momentum, regardless if it's a light or a heavy plane. Because even on a light plane, I'll still push the CG back, and I see that hunting and back it off a little bit after that to still achieve that.
Yeah, I agree. Tune the airframe to its maximum efficiency, and then make up the difference with the handle if you have to. So.
Yeah, or wherever you can. In that case, wherever you can, right? If you don't have any other place, then bring in the handle closer.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt anything. You still have the same amount of movement on your hand, and the plane still responds the same way, right? It's no change.
Yeah.
Or plan B, you change it on the how much throw you have on your elevator, you know, or the flaps, or both, something like that. So,
saying good night to Mike. Mike says he can't hold his eyes open. I hope that's not because we're putting you to sleep, Mike. But anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back Monday. Let me see how
good
many
night, Mike.
we still got over there on the other side. We got 18 people. No, it dropped to 14.
Oh
okay.
My goodness.
14 people still watching. That's respectable.
Oh my God. I thought we were more boring than that.
Now, we've had a pretty good tube crowd tonight. It got up to 20 at one time, I believe. And let's see, what was the maximum? I got to open my analytics. And we had, it doesn't say what the peak. Oh, yeah. Okay. The peak looks like about 21 at one time. It doesn't say exactly. I'm just looking at a little graph.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got a bit rate warning. Says we're not doing so good on bandwidth anymore. I think we had guessed that. But anyway, me and you seem to have pretty good connections. So I hate that everybody got in so much trouble trying to join us tonight. But
it could be like a Windows update or something like that. It's very possible.
Maybe so. Yeah, you know what? That's true. Maybe they'll fix it on next week's update.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's very possible because I know they have so many updates and sometimes programs that work fine and they don't work good
And
anymore.
they
I mean
don't
that.
work anymore. And if it's a
Mhm.
program that enough people care about, they'll patch it next week. But
Mhm.
sometimes you can count on that, and sometimes you can't. I've
Yeah.
torn into my system so many times trying to fix something that turned out to be a problem that had originated in an update.
Mhm.
And lucky, if you're lucky, you don't botch your system trying to fix something that wasn't a problem anyway. So
Mhm. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening.
yeah,
So
well, let's
yeah,
call it a night, Trey, and
sure.
come back Monday, and we'll get the Huntersville report from everybody.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they'll have a good time, and the weather will treat them right. Maybe that
Yeah.
storm will take a turn or peter out or
Yeah.
something, and not rain them out. So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
I know tomorrow is gonna be a bad weather, so I'm not really jumping up and down
yeah,
and
that's right.
and
You're
rushing.
probably a half a day ahead of us in Atlanta as far as the storm goes if it comes through here. So
Mhm.
you'll be getting it before.
Well, very possible.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just gonna keep an eye on the weather. If it looks like it's gonna be halfway decent, I might go over there.
yeah,
Or maybe I'm just gonna just stick around, and if it's no, if I know it's gonna be bad tomorrow, maybe I might do some flying here tomorrow if I find some time because I want to try some new stuff.
yeah.
I made some nose weights and stuff like that, something that goes under the spinner. Anyways, because I want to try to push the CG forward on my plane to have it fly a little bit better,
Yeah.
track a little bit better because I'm just kind of edgy right now.
What about your twister? Is it still on the bench, or have you got it back flying? How is
Uh,
the twister?
there was nothing wrong with the twister, other than having the timer
Yeah.
deciding to crap on me, and we have been using me and my son. We have been using my radio transmitter for
Oh,
that.
okay.
So I have the radio in my hand with the throttle with my thumb, and we
Yeah.
go fly together, stuff like that. And it's okay. It's great. I mean, for learning
Yeah.
because,
Yeah. It's a
uh,
great trainer. And
but it's fine. Yeah, Twister is one of the planes that when I was telling you about the stories about me going and flying some other guys' plane over there,
yeah.
it was one of them. I mean, John was his name, and he had a blue Twister. And I would just fly the Twister, and just like I was very impressed with the way it flew. Stuck, everything stuck,
Yeah.
nothing modified, no
It,
tensorizing, none of that.
Playing as a trainer, or even an early, late intermediate or early advanced stunt ship. It'll do the job.
Oh yeah, it does a great job.
Especially the long fuselage venturized version. I think
Mhm.
those are pretty graceful airplanes. All right, Trey.
All right.
Thanks for coming. Thank all you YouTube guys. Appreciate your donations too. And come back Monday, and maybe we'll have a Huntersville report. Fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later. All
Later,
right.
alligator.
Good night. Yes, sir. In stream in 3, 2, 1. Good night.